Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Oh Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Divasesha Sunyavari Paschacharisatharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hariva, 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 Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki, ISKCON founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada saving the whole world. Ki, Jayam Vishnuvad, Padmakacharya Sutta Satri, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki, Guru Parampara ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Prem Shri Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath, Dham Kunda Radhikani Giri Govardhan ki, Vrindavan ki, Mathuram ki, Jagannath Puri ki, Tulsi Devi ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Ramira Bhakti, Gaura Premananda, all glory to the Son, glory to the Son, glory to the Son, glory to Shri Guru and Shri Guru. The lotus feet of our spiritual master is the only way which we can attain pure devotional service. We bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and attain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is perfection and fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our heart with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prem emanates, and by him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scripture sings of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and Lord and master of devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter at your lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada ki. Kunja Vihari. Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Ranachari. Yamuna Tira Ranachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Amagyanatimirandasya Janaganasalakayam Chakshusmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Shapitam Jena Bhutale Kayam Upakaramaya Dadati Sa Parantikam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna. So we are very happy that His Holiness Trivikrama Swami Maharaj is with us today. Haribo! So Maharaj is coming to India after 22 years, a long time. So we're very fortunate to have Maharaj here today. So Maharaj was born in 1941. Maharaj is staunch sannyasi for more than 51 years. One of the senior leaders and ISKCON Guru, was initiated by Srila Prabhupada in 1969 and given sannyas initiation in 1971. Maharaj is currently the senior most sannyasi, only next to His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj. With just one instruction from His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, based on a letter dated March 7th, 1970, Los Angeles, USA, Maharaj has willingly accepted renounced order of life and dedicated whole life in the service of Srila Prabhupada. During Srila Prabhupada's presence on this planet, Maharaj was regularly assigned by His Divine Grace to spread Krishna consciousness in various countries worldwide, such as United States of America, London, Japan, Taiwan, Philippines, and India. Maharaj went to London temple on the instruction of Srila Prabhupada as a senior brahmachari devotee to train and maintain the temple. This was the temple where the famous three couples went. Maharaj has served as the temple president at various centers and also is a pioneer in opening and expanding many centers, helping in preaching about Krishna consciousness. Maharaj served as a coordinator, co-director of Mayapur along with His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj. Maharaj also served with a leading role in Delhi as a temple president and as temple president in Chandigarh. Srila Prabhupada used to give assignments each year personally to Maharaj, and Maharaj would directly report to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada personally said about him, he will always go wherever I send him. That was a comment Prabhupada made. His Holiness is well known for his loyalty and obedience to Srila Prabhupada's teachings, mood, and mission. Maharaj has rendered so many personal services such as driving and giving massages to Srila Prabhupada regularly. After Srila Prabhupada's departure, His Holiness made sure that Srila Prabhupada's position as the founder Acharya of ISKCON would not be compromised by playing an active role in the Guru reform movement. Later on, His Holiness led preaching in Orlando in the capacity of temple president and is actively preaching in parts of Eastern Europe such as Poland, Ukraine, Belarus, Lithuania, Latvia, and Czech Republic. Maharaj has been accepting disciples on behalf of his spiritual master and ISKCON since 1987 and is well known for ecstatic kirtans, bhajans, and profound lectures with practical applications for the teachings and instructions of Srila Prabhupada. One more thing, while Guru Maharaj was in Hong Kong and particularly in Japan, every day Maharaj used to go out for 6 to 8 hours and distribute anywhere between 125 to 250 books and BTG magazines. Haribo, the request. His Grace Narar Chaitanyapur Temple President to Garland Maharaj.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Which text? Thank you. You got it. I know how to read 22, 21. Okay, this is a very important verse. And it applies somewhat to me in the way you're glorifying me here, because I really don't have these qualities yet. Pitu uvacha bosutahe magda somya. I can't see. Randil. It's not there on the board, huh? Okay. Loke danush shanasta gunasya me syat kim ashrayo me stava esha yojit jatam ma mai abuvan virata girova srava. Translation. This is very important. King Pito said, O gentle Sutta, Magda and other devotees offering prayers and qualities of which you have spoken are not distinct in me. Why should you praise me for all these qualities when I do not shelter these features? I do not wish for these words meant for me to go in vain, but it is better that they be offered to someone else. Pito Maharaj ki. So this is I'm nothing really. Prabhupada created me out of garbage and he gave a little service out of me, but compared to, we should all be glorifying Prabhupada at every step. Then naturally, I'll get some credit because I'm still with Prabhupada, and you'll also get credit because anybody who remains loyal to Prabhupada, dedicated to his movement, they're going to become glorious in due course. So I'm hoping also to become glorious someday. But I'm aspiring devotee. I don't claim to be at the level of Mahabhagavat. Therefore, it's mentioned in the Nectar Devotion that the initiating guru, his main purpose is to direct those to the Acharya. Chapter 6, Nectar Devotion, you can find. Nectar Devotion, Prabhupada said, this is our law book. So the law is, we should keep Prabhupada in the center. What have we done? What has he done? So we want to keep him in the center, then everyone will benefit. We won't lose anything. Doesn't mean we are Rikviks. We accept that there should be Diksha Guru. Prabhupada came to continue the parampara, not to stop it. Krishna came to, what does Krishna say? What's the verse about the parampara? Evam parampara praptam imam maraja sayuvita. So it appears to be lost, but Krishna has come to reestablish it. So Prabhupada hasn't come to stop it. This Rik business is stupid. Prabhupada is here to continue the parampara. he very clearly chose people to initiate. And it wasn't until some of those chosen ones fell down that this Rigvik philosophy was even considered by anybody. Everybody knew that Prabhupada had appointed some people to carry on the work of initiating. But unfortunately, instead of following in Prabhupada's footsteps, some of them imitated him, and therefore there was some chaos. During that chaos, this Rigvik philosophy flourished. Otherwise, it's just a reaction. It's not an actual philosophy. No, nowhere in the history of any sampradaya has there been a acharya who continued initiating after his departure in an organized way with hundreds of people with a perspective to go on for hundreds of years. No, you won't find that anywhere. Is their concoction. Your friends here. So don't fall victim of it. Okay, let's read Prabhupada's purport. The prayers and praises by the Sutta, Magda, and Vandi all explain the godly qualities of Prithu Maharaj. For he was a Satyavek, Satyavesha incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we consider Prabhupada also Shaktivesh avatar. Shaktivesh. Shaktivesh means he gets special power to do something. He's not God, he's not Vishnu Tattva, but he's empowered and he can do superhuman things. So we say that Prabhupada is Shaktivesh of Lord Nityananda for preaching. No one else could do what he did. Old man, going to a foreign country, no money, established this movement. In 10 years, he had centers all over the world. You can't do that unless you're empowered. Therefore, we read in the poetry that Prabhupada composed when he arrived in America, how he wanted to be just a puppet in Krishna's hands. And he was praying, make me dance, make me dance, make me dance. But this was his qualification. He was the puppet. He was fully surrendered. And therefore, Krishna used him. This is special mercy. The Acharya, more than Acharya, he is a Senapati of Lord Chaitanya, the great general who spread this mission all over the world. He gave us the skyscraper. We just have to fill it in. Our work is easy. But Prabhupada's, we can't compare. I don't want to overemphasize this, but because I don't think we can overemphasize it, especially in the history where there were devotees who were thinking they're at the same level as Prabhupada. And thus they became degraded. Nectar of Devotion mentions that. If one imitates a Mahabhagavat, eventually becomes degraded. And I can see if Prabhupada made me a guru in 1977, I could have easily fallen down. I most likely would have, because everybody's flattering you. Wherever you go, oh, here's you, oh, here's this, oh, then you start thinking, maybe I am that good. No. I can tell a quick story, maybe after class. But Prabhupada was never puffed up like that. He always remembered himself as a servant of his spiritual master. So we have to follow in Prabhupada's footsteps, not imitate. You understand the difference? Anusara and Anuvara. Okay, because the qualities were not yet manifest, however, King Prithu very humbly asked why the devotees could praise him with such exalted words. He did not want anyone to offer him prayers or glorify him unless he possessed the real qualities of which they spoke. That's a very important point. Prabhupada accepted, but he was accepted in a humble mood. He knew that he was a servant of Krishna and his spiritual master. The offering of prayers was certainly appropriate, for he was an incarnation of Godhead. So please correct me. Prithu Vishwatattva Jivatattva. Huh? Okay. Because he's saying he was an incarnation of Godhead. But he had warned that one should not accept it as an incarnation of the personality of Godhead without having the godly qualities. So again, Prabhupada is saying, accept him as an incarnation of the personality of God. At the present moment, there are many so-called incarnations of the personality of Godhead, but these are merely fools and rascals whom people accept as incarnations of God, although they have no godly qualities. King Prito desired that his real characteristics in the future might justify such words of praise, although there was no fault in the prayers offered Prito Maharaj. Although there was no prayers in the prayers offered, Prito Maharaj indicated that such prayers should not be offered to an unfit person who pretends to be an incarnation of the personality of God. And the purpose. Okay, so again, we have to be careful, especially here in India, that so many people claim to be God. Such as Sai Baba, these kind of people. So they do a disservice to the principles of religion. Principles of religion are given. And the Acharya is the one who is setting example of those principles of religion. What are the principles of religion? Cleanliness, austerity, mercy, and truthfulness. And they correspond to illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating on the other side. Therefore, you have to strictly follow these rules and regulations in order to come to the point of being a religious person. So Prabhupada was trying to create some religious people, but sometimes he complained, it's like trying to wash coal. You know, black coal, you wash, it's still black. So he saw that many of his disciples were not able to maintain the standard, even of 4 regulated principles, 16 rounds. So he became a little discouraged, actually, when some of the leading devotees fell down, even in his presence, or to speak of so many who fell down after Prabhupada left. So still, the principle is that this movement has the potency to change the world. But first we have to change ourselves from the inside out. We can't be hypocrites and tell people no illicit sex, and we're having illicit sex. So it's our duty to strictly follow. I would use that word, strictly follow. And then it'll become spontaneous. The joyful state will come to us. Brahmabhuta prasanatma, nasochati nakancha. Samasavese bhutaisu mad bhaktim. Then we can become mad bhaktim, Krishna says. You can become his devotee when we first have to come to the level of Brahman. So what is the level of Brahman? We feel joyful, no hankering, no lamenting. We're satisfied, prasanatma. We're satisfied with ourselves in our own position. We're not hankering for something, big position. We're happy in any position. We may accept big position, GBC or whatever, but that will only be for assisting Srila Prabhupada, not that we're interested in position. But this is a test. We all have to pass these tests in order to come to the point of becoming an actual devotee of Krishna. Not an easy thing to be a devotee of Krishna. We can be aspiring for a devotee, to be a devotee. So that we can do. But to actually become a devotee of Krishna, it's rare. Therefore, Nectar Devotion says also, pure devotional service is rarely attained. So we shouldn't be jumping over. Prabhupada used to ridicule those who were imitating Hanuman. Hanuman can do superhuman activities. He can jump over to Sri Lanka. We want to get the credit like Hanuman, but first we have to become pure devotees. But this is the process. We can become pure devotees. Many in the past have become pure devotees by following this process. This is explained in the Gita. So it's not that we're just taking a risk. No, it's a very secure position we're in. But we have to remain in that position, servant of the servant of the servant. As soon as we jump over, then Lanka, what does the Prabhupada say? Melancholy. We're not able to jump like Hanuman could. So again, the key thing of being a spiritual master or being a devotee is that we don't cheat. We don't cheat ourselves and we don't cheat the public. We present ourselves for what we are, servant of the servant. And we're very fortunate because Prabhupada has made it easy for us. We can present him. Here's Srila Prabhupada. Here's his books. Here's his mission. Here's his mission statement. We can explain everything straightforwardly without, demanding credit on our own. The only credit we get is we agreed. We agreed to follow Srila Prabhupada. That's our only credit. Like the people stand up and glorifying me. But my only credit is that I agree. Okay, Prabhupada, I'll try to help you in your mission. And I did that. And I'm still trying to do that. So that much credit you can give me. But otherwise, I'm not very significant devotee. Luckily, I wasn't significant even in Prabhupada's time. Therefore, he didn't ask me to become guru or GVC. So I was able to escape all the problems that happened there in the early 80s by just being happy to be a low-profile devotee. Generally, they want to glorify the sannyasis and make them something big, but I hesitate to, even now, at 81, I hesitate to put myself in an exalted position because it's easy. The Maya is so strong. And therefore, Lord Chaitanya embraced Sanat Goswami when he came to see him. And what did he tell him? Does anybody know? Sanat Goswami was dressed almost like a Muslim, and he was waiting outside the door. And Lord Chaitanya said, Govinda Das, go bring, there's an exalted devotee out there. But he went out and he said, no, there's nobody here. Just some Makir, they call him, right? And he said, no, bring him in. So Sanat Goswami was just unassuming. But Lord Chaitanya embraced him. And what did he tell him? You've done what nobody else can do. You've given up big position. That's the thing that gets so many devotees also. Oh, I'm the GVC, I'm the temple president, I'm the temple commander, I'm the head. And then suddenly they go a little cuckoo, thinking that because of position that they're special. So we can take position, we must take position. But as a service, Robert, in order to organize the institution, we need hierarchy, we need discipline. But those who take the role have to be very careful. The role of guru is easier because it's so voluntary. The candidate wants you and you accept after examining each other. That examination should be there. Then you can, but temple president, that you have more authority in one sense. You can command. If you don't behave, I'm going to call the police and throw you out. You can do like that. The temple president may have to do like that. But the guru is not going to do that. He just becomes indifferent. I saw Srila Prabhupada became indifferent to some of his disciples. He no longer put energy into them because they weren't receptive anymore. They lost faith. They lost faith in him. So he just dealt with them. He didn't give it. And because even if Prabhupada was getting angry with you, that means he thought you were savable, so to speak. So that also we could tolerate. Prabhupada got angry with me a lot, but I could tolerate because I knew he was my well-wisher, and I didn't feel, I took it as he's trying to help me. But others didn't do that. They resented it and they went away or whatever. For whatever reason. They even blame Prabhupada or they blame Krishna. Isn't it? Don't we hear even now people blaming Krishna? Why did Krishna allow this COVID vaccination or disease to spread so much? So the point is, we should learn from these negative situations. There's one verse like that describes, Prabhupada says, is applicable all times and all circumstances, that if you Tolerate. Lord Chaitanya stressed this: tolerate. Tolerate the people offending you. Tolerate the pains that are going to come to you. Prabhupada also experienced difficulty when he was leaving his body. We were with him. It was a difficult situation. It's going to be a difficult situation for each and every one of us when disease comes and old age and death is waiting. But we saw from Prabhupada's example, he was never lost his faith in any way. Rather, he was still encouraging us, even in the last days. He was preaching. He was very conscious. Up until the very last day, he was fully conscious. Made a little mistake, he would say, what is that? What do you mean? If he did something nice, he encouraged you. Even lying on the bed. I was singing one, because we were always had the kirtan going in Prabhupada's room. And we had these small cartels. Ching, ching, ching. And kirtan was going 24 hours. Even when Prabhupada was sleeping, light kirtan was going. In soft voices. And then, of course, if Prabhupada wanted to speak, then the kirtan would stop. So he didn't chant on japa. He didn't have the strength. But he was always hearing the kirtan. He said, this is my medicine. Kirtan and massage. He used to take massage because he had the stroke. So it was good for his circulation, massage. But otherwise, don't think that we won't have to tolerate difficulties. It's inevitable. We owe God one death, and there's going to be suffering. So we have to be prepared to tolerate. This is the greatest qualification, to be tolerant on our own account. We don't have to tolerate if somebody blasphemes the Lord or his devotee. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says, then we can give him a proper teaching with as much vigor as ever. I remember we were in London, early days, and they have this undergrounds that we don't have undergrounds here. You do? So there was one guy selling papers there, and I was finishing up. I was alone. So he had dhoti, shaved head, everything. And the guy spoke something bad about Krishna. I forget what he said. And I told him, you better shut up. I'm going to throw you down these stairs. And he said, I thought you were pacifists. I said, well, you thought wrong. We can get angry if somebody blasphemes Krishna or Prabhupada. But if they blaspheme us, no, then we should tolerate. What is it? Yes, you're right. I am a fool. Otherwise, why am I here in this material world? I'm the biggest fool. I was with Krishna, but I decided I wanted to be equal with Krishna. I no longer wanted to serve him. I wanted to be on the same level. That's why we don't like these Mayavadis, because that's the disease that brought us here. You can become God. And India is full of these people. So you have to confront them. This is a service because you're protecting God. I personally saw Prabhupada get disturbed by these commentations on Bhagavad Gita. He said in an annoyed way, why don't they write their own book? Why they take Krishna and twist Krishna's words? So when we confront these people, we should also be annoyed. Why are you spoiling the words of the Lord? He's clearly saying, Aham Tvam, this too, you surrender to me. Arjuna was chosen because he's a bhakta. Why don't you accept this is the Bhakti Mama Vijananti, Man Manamava Mad Bhakta? Throughout the whole Gita, Krishna is saying, become my devotee. And these people saying, no, you should become a Jnani. Vasudeva Savamiti Samahatmasadurva. Only after many, many bursts of Jnana will you come to the point of pure devotion. But Prabhupada is bringing us right immediately. If we agree, then we can become devotees in this lifetime. Although it's not so easy, like we were saying. Brahma Bhuta Prasanama. We have to come to this level. Brahma Bhuta means I understand I'm not this body. I'm fully convinced of it. Brahma Bhuta. Nasochati. I don't hanker or lament for anything. So I'm equal to everyone. Not that I only like my family members and others. So it's very difficult to have that mentality. Then you can become a devotee. Uh, so this we should be always thinking how I can qualify myself, how I can purify myself to become a devotee. Pavitram. Krishna is complete pure. So we have to be pure if we want to become his devotee. Otherwise, why will he allow us to come close to him? If we have the smell of sense gratification or seeking sense gratification, you have to be finished with that and see this is not my real self. Running after illicit sex, intoxication, these things. So we're very fortunate. Greatest good fortune is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. On the Bhagavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasad, Bhakti Lata Beach, that we meet the devotee on a level like Prabhupada, and you all are introduced to him through his books. He's our Shiksha Guru for the next 10,000 years. So all of you are very fortunate to be connected with Srila Prabhupada and his mission. So don't break that connection. Remain servant of the servant. Of course, the Diksha Guru can help us, but if the Diksha Guru will be happy if we become Prabhupada conscious. He will. He'll be happy if we take Prabhupada's book distribution as an important service. If we take glorifying Prabhupada as our way. Not that we neglect our Diksha Guru, but he'll be happy if he sees us enthusiastic to spread Prabhupada's mission. He'll be happy. Which guru won't be happy? Every guru in ISKCON knows that I'm a servant of Prabhupada. No one is thinking I'm in the same level as Prabhupada. We want to keep Prabhupada in the center. So if you also help keep Prabhupada in the center, then this mission can go on for 10,000 years. I was in the car with Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles, coming back from a morning walk. And the car came a different way. Devotees didn't see us. They were all on the street. So Prabhupada was in the front, and the three sannyasis were in the back, and the driver was in the front. So as we came up, Prabhupada saw, and he spoke from inside his heart. He said, this movement will go unchecked for the next 10,000 years. He spoke with full conviction. They cannot check this movement. So we should hold on to this movement, and it will carry us back home, back to Godhead. Don't remain loyal to ISKCON. Don't be attracted by these other Gaudiyamas or something. Remain loyal. Or this Madhu Pandit guy. You've already settled that in your minds, I guess. You're not attracted. One of his followers spoke to me the other day. And he was saying he'd like to come back to ISKCON, but he doesn't know how to do it so easy. Anyway, that's just an incident that happened. But the point is that they're putting the whole philosophy on a one word which Tamal Krishna used to say henceforth the Rigvik system. But that was Prabhupada was clearly saying. Everybody knew that Prabhupada had chosen some gurus to carry on the work of initiating after he left. Everybody knew that. There was no doubt about it. And it wasn't until the gurus started falling down, like 3 years later, that even anybody conceived of a Rigvik system for eternity. This is simply a reaction to the fact that some gurus fell down. And it's unfortunate that they did. And we have to face that reality that some of them, like I was working with Hansa Duda, he became crazy. We call it DAD, we call it. Dreaded Acharya disease. They thought they were equal with Prabhupada. Instead of taking the position, a humble position, they would say, like Hansa Duda, this is what he said. I didn't ask to become guru. Prabhupada may be guru. Everybody knows guru is perfect. Therefore, I'm perfect. And he then ended up having sex with his disciples, shooting guns. They went crazy. But that's not going to happen again. But the bad result is these wicked people came up. They would have never had any thought of it. Nobody in ISKCON, like in 1978, 79, 80, nobody even thought of this idea. Because there's no history. There's no history of any Acharya continuing to initiate on a large scale after he has left the planet. Nobody. Therefore, Krishna said, Evam Parampara, I'm coming to reestablish the Parampara. So there's a concoction there. They're creating this idea. So we can preach against them. We should preach against them. They preach against us, right? We get a chance. They minimize the gurus. They say, oh, the problem is these gurus. I saw some on YouTube or something. Okay, anyway. Any comments, questions? Yes, sir.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, you were telling that Prabhupada was the same to everyone, and yet some of the disciples they chose to stick with Prabhupada, and many went away. So Maharaj, even when we come to bhakti and we have accepted the philosophy, everyone knows the philosophy, everyone gets the same treatment from the leaders, from the guides. Still, many people end up going away. So, do we have no independence in this matter? Are we totally being controlled by our past lives, our anarthas, that even after
No, of
knowing
course
everything?
not. We can overcome our past life. What is it? How many examples are there, like Valmiki or Jagai and Madhai? They overcame their past life. Otherwise, why are we preaching? We're giving people a chance to come to their original position. You want to talk about the past? Originally, we're with Krishna, but we misuse our independence and we come here. So that our original position is Krishna conscious. We want to go back to our original position. Why is that so difficult? It's difficult because since time immemorial, the habit has been to put myself in the center. Right? It's like when you're on the road here. You don't expect the other driver is going to, oh, yeah, you can go ahead of me. No, everybody. It's kind of like a cultural shock for me, the traffic. Because in America, we have lanes, like, and people don't go out of their lane unless they signal. It's a big thing to change lanes, but here there's like, the scooters are coming in this way. And everybody wants to get ahead, right? That's the mentality, because the child is the same way. The child on the plane, he doesn't care if he disturbs 100 people because he loves himself the most. And therefore he's screaming. You try to reason with him, you can't. So this is what we're born into. We're born due to false ego. We want to put ourselves in the center. But in the spiritual world, everybody agrees to put Krishna in the center. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made it easy for us to put Krishna in the center. How do we do it? And the binding principle is sex life. Once in Vrindavan, Prabhupada, after Kirtan, he came back to take rest, and I was with him with Shruti Kirti. He was on the bed and we were sitting on the ground, and then Prabhupada said, this Kirtan is a special mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, and if we don't get life from the Kirtan, no, first he said, this Kirtan gives us life. And then he said, and if we don't get life from the Kirtan, simply sex life. So it's our choice. We want to be involved in sex life up to the point of death, or we want to take to the Kirtan and have a Kirtan going on in our last day. That's our choice. We remain with the devotees, then they'll be chanting while we're leaving the body. Otherwise, your wife will be there. And then what Paranjana is described in the fourth canto, he was attached to his wife, so next life, he got a female body. That's the karma. Karma is working perfectly. You're attached to a woman at the time of death. If a man is attached to a woman, he becomes a woman in his next life. This is in the fourth canto, you can read. So you have every chance to overcome your lower nature. If you associate with devotees throughout your whole life, try your best. Sometimes you may fail, just like a child learning how to walk. Sometimes he falls, but he gets up immediately because he sees this is what's happening. This is where it's happening. Walking. I'm not going to remain crawling my whole life. So he understands. I have to learn how to walk. But he falls down, he gets up. Similarly, we should be convinced this is the highest thing for me. This is the best thing for me to become a devotee. Then why should we give it up? It's the best thing. Only there's two reasons: suicidal or homicidal. But if we're normal, we'll take the best thing. Okay, anyone else? Yes, sir. Here.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for the lecture.
My hearing is a little bad, so you have to slowly and clearly.
Thank you so much
Yeah, I got
for the
that.
lecture. Maharaj, one question. So you were talking about sannyasis and initiating gurus falling down. So recently I took a ISKCON disciple course where it was talking about somebody who is a initiating guru who falls down. ISKCON gives multiple chances for that guru to come back. So I was thinking why that happens, because even a normal
What happened?
why a initiating guru is given a chance.
Why he fell
No, why even
Why
after
he given
falling
it-
down from basic principles, still they are given a chance to remain as initiating guru.
Never heard that. So the guru is breaking principles and he can remain an initiating guru? No. Where is that goes on in this guy? If the guru breaks principles, he can still remain a initiating? No. I don't believe that's there. You have to show me. Maybe you misread it. He's given a chance, yes, to read because Abhichet Siddharacharo, he can become again pure. But if he's broken principles and he's still breaking them, then who will accept him as a guru?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for wonderful class. I wanted to know Maharaj, like since this topic of Ritviks came, so since this topic,
Tell me, what is it? Better use the microphone. Did you understand what he said? He didn't understand either.
I wanted to know like what is the destination of a devotee who sincerely practice devotional service in a Ritvik circumstances.
Yeah, he may have to spend another lifetime. easy to get up before 4. You have so many rounds done before Mangalarti. Then the day is easy. I haven't had trouble since 1968. Once I was in India, I had typhoid. So for a few days, I couldn't chant. But it's not so hard. Okay, next. I think everybody, okay, last question. Because the devotees want some prasadam now.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for a wonderful class where you emphasized the importance of Srila Prabhupada in our lives and in the next one. Maharaj, the question that I had was, how can one overcome duplicitous behavior?
Work. Forward. Not advice. Why can't we be straightforward? I don't have any problem with that. You know, I'm American. We kind of grew up being straightforward. But I'll tell you the truth. When I was before, 20 years before, one of the reasons I didn't come back to India because I didn't like the Indians because I thought they were tricky. Yeah, they weren't so straightforward. Now, of course, it's different. The Vaishnavas are naturally straightforward. Well, why do we have to be tricky? Better to be straightforward about in your ordinary dealing with everything. Then people know where you're at and they respect you or they avoid you. It's the best quality. Robert clearly says, nectar devotion. Be straightforward in ordinary dealing. Why do we have to trick and cheat? We don't have any faith that we're going to get our quota. We have to find a shortcut, just lie and steal to get what we need, we think we need. Krishna will maintain us. He promised. He'll carry what we lack. He'll preserve what we have. Just have a little faith, and then you can be straightforward about everything. Okay, we'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna. So we'd like to thank His Holiness Trivikrama Swami Maharaj for coming here. And he
You're
has
welcome.
to. Very good, Maharaj. Please come again whenever you come to India. Please visit our ISKCON Cultural Center for Bangalore. We'll be very eager to have you again here. So let's thank Maharaj from the bottom of our heart by loudly
Okay,
chanting
that's
once
enough.
Hare
You
Krishna
want me to
mantra.
go back?
We'll chant once Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Prabhupada ki.
So devotees can take prasadam in the prasadam hall.
Hare Krishna. Devotees who want to give dakshina to Maharaj can pass it on to me. I'll hand it over to
Yes, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We'll discontinue the session. We'll continue again tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhishya kripa sindhubhyev च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।